Oh, you not working? Hello? No?
Okay. I call the meeting of the Parks and Trails Commission to order. All right, we're gonna put item is the approval of minutes. Motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for last month.
Anybody second that? Right here, so.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Does anybody want to second that? Gary?
Second.
Good. You gotta the vote? Go ahead
Three second.
for approval of minutes. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All.
So
Aye. Sorry, I'd be there with you guys today, but I'm just buried with work and we're heading to Arizona this weekend, so I'm having to double dip here for a couple hours. So
Okay, that's fine. Okay, topics from the floor. Anybody? Anybody on the internet? Just trying to talk to us? Nobody?
The Vikings are on tonight, aren't they?
That's the topic from the floor.
Are you a Viking fan? You're a Viking fan?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
You went to the University of Minnesota.
Why, do they have like two fans? That's it. You're there.
We have what?
Like two fans.
We're quite friendly. We're on friendly terms. Okay, we're.
Sorry.
New business, we're Sherry, we'll read Herman resignation.
yeah, he emailed Kathy that he was resigning because he got a position on the planning commission, which fits his work schedule better. So Kathy has advertised for his position and that will close on January 27th. We've already gotten 2 applications and I can invite those people to the next meeting.
Okay. All right, number 3, elect chair and vice chair.
I make a nomination to nominate Dana as chair.
Okay, second, have any seconds?
Second that.
Okay, discussion?
Do I not bore you guys just so incredibly much? Like,
I think she's,
No, we think you just love to
I think
speak.
she's the most competent in handling technology and organization skill.
I do too, but my reservation, if there is one, is that we've had Lynn, then you, then Lynn, then you, pretty much. So that's kind of,
Well, we used to,
You?
the way we used to do it was whoever hasn't done it, does it next, and then so you just rotate, keep rotating.
uh-huh.
is there anyone else on the commission that would like to do the chair position?
You guys such a high bar. I'm just.
See,
There's no
Well,
way I could even
when's it-
eat.
You guys have all been a chair, right?
Yes.
How long ago?
Question.
I think I did it before Lynn.
yeah, it's been quite a while for me. But
Okay. How long, well,
I can't remember. I'm getting too old to remember those things. It's been quite a while.
so,
I do not want to be chair. I'd be vice chair. And I hope if someone else wants to be vice chair, that'd be good. I'm just not real good with technology. And then next year, I don't really want to be chair though,
okay.
you know.
We'll hopefully have 2 new members on for this year too, which will give them time to warm up and and hopefully, you know, and I don't mind the nomination. I appreciate it. I love you guys very much. It's been great.
And we have had people that have been chair for quite a few years in a row that were very qualified, so. You know, it was just Doug Morton thought that we should maybe rotate it through and have many more different people to get the experience, but. You know, like I said,
I really liked the rotation. I really did. But then when it got to be, you know, seemed to me like it got to be a lot more tech savvy. That's when I was saying, you know, I'm not sure I really want to do that. I mean, I could probably manage it, but just, you know, let someone else that has better skills.
Don't have to be that high tech on this. You can be a Luddite. So, did you,
Is anyone else besides Dana interested in being chair?
by process of elimination?
I'm just saying, is anybody else
Way
interested?
to make her feel bad.
Hello.
When it came out.
She was a good one.
Hello.
Very well at it. Was
Yeah, she is.
very organized. If she
Yes.
has the time in her life
She
to do
is
it again
one of-
for us, I think we'd be greatly
I
appreciated.
think she represents us very well. She speaks great and
I do too.
yeah, you do too.
Oh, yeah.
I have
Yeah.
no qualms about that. It's just that, you know, we're trying to do it, you know, and going around with everybody to do it. So. Shall we vote on it? Chair is vice chair too. He volunteered. I heard
Yeah, I'll
that.
be vice chair.
Okay.
Dana doesn't miss many.
Well, let's do,
So I'll nominate Jerry as vice chair.
I'll second Jerry as vice chair.
okay, we'll vote first for Dana as chair.
I,
Right?
Aye.
Okay.
Did somebody second Dana's chair?
Yes,
Yeah, we had a second.
Jake did?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
And then vote for, well, you're.
does anyone else
you're
want to
on.
be vice chair though, before we go there?
Oh,
Jacob, do you want to be vice chair?
My work schedule and stuff, I'm missing meetings now.
Okay. Howard?
I mean, I would if you didn't want to. It's a toss up. I can go either way and occasionally. be-
Rock, paper, scissors.
You know, I would rather, you know, let Howard's, you know, he's in touch with the city. He lives down here close to the city.
Okay.
He's in touch with the city.
Okay.
He does things down here all the time.
Uh-huh.
I think that would be better for the
So
city.
Jerry, are you withdrawing your nomination?
Yes, I will withdraw.
So now I nominate Howard then.
I second that.
Okay. All right, shall we vote? Okay, let's vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Myself.
All right, we
Yes, you
got,
have.
I do.
Dana's the chair and you're the vice chair. I'm gonna vacate the hot. My reign of,
You have to finish the meeting.
really?
Yes.
Dang. I wanted to leave early for the Vikings.
They're gonna win. I can get it over. I got the game on my phone too. They're gonna win.
let's make it quick. We can get there quick.
Okay,
They start at 5. Go.
let's do an interview of Lucas.
We met Lucas.
We've met him.
Yeah.
So this,
We
like Lucas.
have.
You've read through his.
Can I ask you
application?
questions?
Yeah.
You can.
Okay, so Lucas, I know you've been here before. We know you. So what qualifications do you think you will bring to the Parks and Trails Commission?
I forgot to state it on my application, but I have some basic skills in GIS technology, so map making.
He's computer savvy.
A little bit, not too much.
He's young.
Yeah, he's young.
I feel committed to this community and I just want to make it a better place. I feel like my values just back that a lot.
You know a lot about animals.
Yeah. The general ecology of the area.
How do you feel about baseball?
I like baseball. I did baseball.
How do you feel about the Vikings?
I'm not a huge football guy, but
I'm not.
That's one strike now.
Other questions?
Have you familiarized yourself with the municipal code in regards to the commission? Have you
yeah,
read
I've read through that.
our bylaws? Okay, great.
Usually that comes in a packet.
And then at this time, you have no problem with making it 4 o'clock meeting.
No, it's not bad.
That's exactly.
My schedule fits in.
I always ask that, I try to write that.
So you can make it to most of the meetings, you believe?
And if not, I should be able to meet on Zoom as well.
Do you have a park specifically well?
I like a lot of them. I frequent Dalton Lake, the Botanical Gardens, Nob Hill a lot.
Mechanical card.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's,
Very much
that's,
that way.
that's, I'll let you do that.
Any other questions?
We met him last, a
Yeah.
few weeks or months ago. I liked him, so.
Yeah, we all
I
like
got
him.
one comment.
Okay.
I think he would make a good addition to us, because of his background and that, he's probably one of our youngest members we've ever had, which will bring a whole new feeling to the group and more, hopefully younger ideas.
So what is your background that you think with this, that the Parks and Trails Commission will benefit from your expertise?
Giving a little more insight and educating the public on what is in our parks besides just recreating activities, more educational based. Could help provide some ideas for expanding that in the future.
Available occasionally on the weekend for work
Yeah.
parties and stuff.
So what have you done in the past that the skills that you have in the past that you think will help here? That's the question I asked before.
I've done a lot of volunteering. I volunteer with Hubbardton Frog Crossing and Linton. I've been doing that for 4 years, I think now. Just
Thank you.
At PCC, you're studying the environmental sciences.
yeah, and I'm pursuing a degree in nursing, but just environmental sciences on the side.
In-demand job.
Yeah.
I was super impressed by your contributions to the discussion on the Milton Creek project.
Very impressed. And your presentation here.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? All right. That's good.
Motion to,
When can you start?
Yeah.
are we ready for a motion now?
Yeah,
Make a motion for Lucas Green to be nominated to the Parks and Trails Commission.
I'll second it.
should we vote? Let's vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi,
All right, you're in.
That's all.
You have to be appointed first,
Yeah,
but
they gotta take it, they gotta take the city council, but
it'll be done on Wednesday.
I don't see a problem.
Do I need to attend that as well?
Excuse me?
Do I need to attend that?
No, you don't have to. You zoom them in and say, because they'll. Oh. But you can stick around, if you like, you can keep up to date on what's all happening here.
Watch the Vikings and what's gonna go here.
Maybe you should take over his chair for a little while.
Little hand signals. Yeah.
Okay, Paul, you're up.
I'm up, huh? All right. Yeah, so yeah, just a couple things real quick that I'd put on the agenda there regarding bicycle lanes and some bridges. I know I had an individual that slipped on that bridge there across Milton Creek, and I know that I'm sure the city's aware, it's really slick when it's wet. So I don't know that there's anything that can be done to that bridge. We got enough signs around. Don't know if maybe there should be a sign put there before that on, people enter that. I personally, when I'm out running or riding, I just go on the road because if it's wet, because that bridge is, it's just, it's pretty slimy when it gets wet. So I don't know if it's ever been looked at, if there's any anti-skid material that could be painted on that surface to make it safer for people, but they went down pretty good on their bike. And so just something was brought to my attention at the shop. I had to work on their bike, and they mentioned it to me, and I said I would bring it up. So
There is some type of all grip like for boats that you put on for decks that is anti-slipping.
Yeah, we have to check with the people who built it, that it will work with the stains that are on it right now. We've looked at it before. There is 2 signs at each. I know there's 2 signs at each entrance from I guess it'd be the east and the west sides on both sides, north and the south sides of the roads. You're talking about the OPR bridge, right?
Yeah, yeah, I thought there was some signage, but anyways, it was just, yeah, that's the one that was dropped in there some time ago. And I know it's, it's some special treated lumber, and I'm not sure if you cover it, if that's something you can really do, for that, but.
Into it. It does need to be treated again pretty soon, and then we'll see if there's sometimes when you put that down, you can throw it's not sand, but something that just adds a little bit of grip. But yeah, it's slick, especially on a
Oh,
bicycle.
yeah.
Not gonna last long with the trees though. We'd be there all the time.
What, shingles?
Or
I don't know if
Or is there a bio-
Jingles down to that thing.
is there a bio-friendly thing like, I don't know if 30 seconds cleaner is, if you could use that and rinse it into the creek, but is there a?
Yeah, that's the problem is you gotta put a diaper under everything so nothing goes in the creeks. Yeah, I'll look into it, see what we find out.
Okay. Yeah, and then the other item was something that I had noticed. There's you find more like electrical vaults or utility vaults that end up being in bike lanes in certain areas, and I don't know, it was just something that kind of took me by surprise because I was coming around a corner. I think it was probably actually county road because it was Gable Road where they did all that new work near the high school. I come around a corner and there's a vault that's there that's steel and it was wet out, and the thought came to me, it was like, well, man, if it would have been highlighted a little bit, like if it was yellow or something, because I know some places they will have vaults a different color. So I don't know if there's any, wasn't aware that there's a standard, or I know that we don't have a lot of money to be doing a bunch of things, but it would just as I'm thinking about bicycle and pedestrian related things, that was something that kind of popped out at me, and I was like, well, you could put like paint a yellow stripe across a vault or something if there's an obstruction. There's grates that are in bike lanes, and you kind of know, and you try to be aware of them as you're riding, but it was just something that I wanted to bring up. Not anyways, that was pretty much it, really. So that I had. So
I can get a hold of engineering and make sure we don't want to go out and paint them yellow and then it's gonna mean something else with the
right.
control or
Yeah.
something like that, but that's
Yeah.
something too that we might be able to put something down on it that provides a little bit more traction, maybe not as much warning, but it might take a lot of the slippery away from it, but yeah, I'll get back to you.
All right. That's all I've got.
I would like to just point out something about the bike lane safety. They always have a picture of the bike and an arrow on these things. And I see and have come across people riding the opposite direction. And just reminds me of a time when Selwood, I was coming up to take a turn, and somebody came flying out from on the sidewalk at that time. But that's going to happen one of these times with somebody not looking that way. So if we can.
Yeah, it's a tough one in St. Helens on Highway 30 because all your businesses are on one side, the railroad tracks are on the other. So if you're
It's not just
that's where you find it a lot, where you'll see guys in the bike lanes going the opposite direction because they're trying to get to a business, and they have to go all the way down to way down and circle back around to hit a business or something. That's the problem there, but I don't know how you
It
fix
is
that.
pervasive citywide, though, people riding the opposite direction on these things.
I see that up in Bolton area quite frequently. The people.
Yeah. And same thing there, because a lot of
Bike lane, so they ride the wrong way
Yeah,
through the grid.
that's something that I think
Oh,
should
yeah.
be considered at least. That's all I have for that. So you're done with that, Paul?
That's it, unless you guys have any other questions, but yeah, that was all.
All right, old business, Mountain Creek Reserve. Thanks for everybody coming out there the other day. We got a nice result for it. So it looks, we're going ahead. Just with Lucas here, gonna be on the commission. Looking forward to this moving forward. Do have to define the area better, but we do have resources now to be able to get that, a better idea. From my understanding with what Counselor Chilton made the motion, you seconded, Counselor Sundin, was that you agreed to the having a reserve, but it's still to be defined. So want to clarify that because yeah, just an agreement or principle, in other words.
And how do we move forward? Because the city council did agree to allow staff time to help us delineate the boundaries so we can have a clear ask on exactly how much space we're utilizing. So how do we move forward to make that actually happen? Because that would be the next step before we can really do anything else.
I think Jacob is actually looking into it with, to delineate a little bit.
Okay,
That's what we discussed when we during the whole process that day. Jerry?
One of the, and just as an initial look at the project, what I would like to see, like you guys have seen this map a lot, but I'd like to see a map like this of that area that shows both the county's property, the city's property, where you're looking at it from above. And then I would like to have, I don't know, a grid or something that shows, you know, acreage or something like that. So you can look at the map, you can look at it from above and you can see the creek, you can see the, you know, the Camas Field, you can see the old Boise Park, you can see all the stuff. And then you really know what it's like. And that's what I would like to see put together.
I
I
think
thought about asking my daughter.
well, Jacob
do
has a
something
new
like that.
GIS software that he's working on to get acclimated to. So I know.
So can I make a motion? Do I make a motion that we ask the city, Jacob, to have a aerial map like this of the area with a grid on it of some kind so we can know specifically how much land we're talking through. I'd also like to see a line that shows the setback for the riparian zone also on it. So
Jacob is actually looking into that, I believe, when he gets a chance. And I think we should let him come up with something, look at it, and then try.
I'm all for Jacob doing this. I mean, my daughter could, but she's a busy person, but I'm all for Jake. I'd rather Jacob do this, but I would just like to make a motion that comes from the Parks and Trails Commission that says we'd like the city to provide us, you know, an initial, so we can at least start looking at it. We'd like a initial view with the riparian setback, and some kind of grid on there, but Jacob can decide what he wants, so we can know how much area we're talking about, because I know Jessica, Commissioner
Chilton.
Chilton, she was very concerned about, you know, how much of it, and so was I, is, you know, how much of this we're gonna take and how much we're gonna take. That's how much we would like to save for prosperity. And, you know, the figure I threw out there was around 7 acres, but that's just a guesstimate. So I'd like to make a motion that Jacob make an overhead map like this with the riparian setback and a grid so we can tell how much area is in the, how much land there is, or what the dimensions of the land is in this.
That way then too, we could draw on it and show what exactly what we wanted and.
And that's a clear deliverable, like a specific ask, and then we can utilize that as a tool moving forward. With
Yeah,
the
it's
great.
just a place to start with.
Yeah.
I mean, it would really be nice so we can look at it and say, oh, you know. So I make that motion.
Good second.
More discussion? Vote?
I
Aye.
We should ask Commissioner Counselor Sundin what he thought about.
Yeah, I didn't have a good understanding of if you had had any conversations with John or Jacob as to what the next steps were, but I think that would be a good place to start is, I know the council had questions about how much are you asking for? I think that's the logical next step is to, one of you work with Jacob and try to map it out and figure out what we're looking at. So,
Okay.
But also, when he does it, I'd also like him to show the port property also. And I don't know if I said that in the motion, but I'd like to see, you know, the whole thing.
Are you willing to meet with him so that you can express your
Sure.
request?
I'm willing to meet with him.
Also, I was contacted by Crystal King during the, well, let me back up. During the regular session, when they voted on the reserve, they also voted on a individual that was for the media named Katie from the Spotlight. So I kind of chatted with her a little bit and asked her, you know, put this on, you know, front and center on the newspaper, but I told her, but first you have to contact Crystal, and she did, and Crystal contacted me about discussing that with Spotlight, to do an article on that. So just want to let you know that's out there. You have any ideas, you know, or anything you want to put into it, let me know.
They,
I'm not sure, you know, I'm just letting that, you know,
they haven't reached out to
they haven't
anybody.
reached out to me.
Okay,
They reached out to Crystal.
Okay.
First off, and then Crystal asked me if it's all right to contact me. I gave her my phone number and has my email too. So,
We like the idea of you talking to them and getting publicity for this thing, Scott.
yes. I want publicity, but yeah, I think you know, you might find a better spokesperson. So, also, I have been in contact a couple of times with Elliot Levin from the port. I'm thinking still, you know, because, you know, when we did the presentation, I said, you know, possible campground on the port side, you know, primitive, and he said that would be really difficult, just so we don't cross on these things. Be nice to get somebody from the port, you know, on a regular basis to maybe zoom in during these, you know, the old Milton Creek Reserve updates. I was gonna give him a call about that to get somebody, or maybe him or somebody else, to be able to do that. So, we had, I believe, discussed this previously. It just want to make sure that it's all inclusive with everybody, so we're not leaving anybody out. So anybody, I also want to say that I think when we did our presentation, that, you know, with a group going up there, a heck of a lot stronger than we go up there individually. And I think that's reflected both during our annual report and with this presentation. So I think that's something we should consider when we go forward, you know, leaning on them, you know, with all of our weight.
that was fantastic.
It was. Anybody else have anything to say about it?
I could have a request, sometime, if I could, since I'll be running busy starting next month, whatever you have on the project, I was wondering if you could send to me like the working PowerPoint, that we've been working on for, up until now, because it had some great like next steps and stuff. I'd like to have that, so that I could work from it.
Yeah.
And play with that. And then if you have any notes or anything that you've been keeping yourself specifically on tasks where you're at, or
Not specifically, no. I mean, if there's anything that I've done, I try to keep
Yeah, perfect.
everybody up to date as soon as possible.
Great.
So I will send you that.
That way I can kind of do like a handoff and I can take the torch and run with it.
Great.
Appreciate that.
I appreciate that. So, nothing else on Milton Creek? Okay, we're on to roles and responsibilities. Update the bylaws.
Yeah, so so I've done a little bit of research with the holidays. I wasn't able to get as much time on this as I'd like to, so that I could come up with specific language for a proposal for amending the bylaws. And so at our next meeting, I would like to bring that forward then, just because I'd like to spend a little bit more time really clearly what I'm imagining I need clarity on and how I think that should be worded for the bylaws. And then bringing that forward to you guys. And specifically, just looking at what we're doing in action versus what we have on paper with the bylaws, just making sure that they are in congruence. And my only real point of non-clarity at this point is the park assignments and how we operate with those and under those. And so I understand that the being stewards of the parks and whatnot is clearly expressed in our bylaws. However, we've kind of altered that in each individual person taking a stronger sense of ownership over individual parks. And if that's the way that we're going to operate, I just think that it's appropriate to have language about that in our bylaws. So there's no misconstrued or lack of clarity in that regards. And so that's my plan. And if you guys have any sentiments about that now that you would like to share, or if you have any questions that I can take note on and use that to really shape it in a way that is appropriate for everyone, that would be great.
I know there's a number of folks who want to keep it informal, but I think like yourself, rather than, keeping it informal and having, somebody misinterpret and going on or going off on
Yeah.
things, I think it's better just to have, something written down how we
Yeah.
go proceed.
And I absolutely appreciate,
And
keeping-
Nate, you're gonna come up with some ideas for that.
Yeah, so what I'm doing some more research with specifics to bylaws, right? So I can really fully understand what is appropriate and what is required, how that applies to us. I need a full understanding for myself on, as a commission, we're working, for the public body. We are the public body, and our actions are impactful, and we have responsibilities to uphold. As a commissioner, I don't ever want to do anything that steps outside of those bounds. I definitely don't want to do anything that's going to put myself at risk. And being informal and acting, as a volunteer is fantastic and wonderful, but being a member of the commission, in addition to doing actions, that's where we kind of, we're out there, we put ourselves out there. It needs to be a little bit more formal.
So you're talking about the assignments to the parks.
Specifically, yeah, because again, in our bylaws, it states that all of us have a general responsibility to bring forth concerns, suggestions, etc. The way we've been doing it in action is you are assigned this park, you bring things forward
Well-
specifically for that, etc.
I think the parks were assigned,
Mhm.
doesn't make it like, oh, that's my park, no one else can go in it.
Right,
It's just, we report on that park.
Right.
But everybody is welcome to say anything they want about that park.
yeah,
So it don't have to come from like me or Jerry. It could be you or Howard
Yeah.
with concern on that park. We're just kind of overviewing like, hey, I'm at this park most of the time, so that's why I'm overlooking this park. If you ever see me in the park, feel free to come up and talk to me, but you can talk to any commissioner you want.
Yeah.
It's not like it's my park, no one else can report on it.
right.
Yeah, see, I was one of the people that say, informal.
Mhm.
I thought the way it worked was okay. Now, to my knowledge, no one has come to me and, you know, with hurt feelings and felt like, hey, they were left out. But that could be the case, you know, and,
That could be the case. It's also, I mean, having clarity. I know that, you know, some people, it affects them not knowing what to actually be, they're supposed to be doing. That's another topic too.
well, when we reported on the parks, everyone kind of reported on it, you know, on the parks differently. You know, I'd go through the what's it called? Parks and Trails Master Plan. Yeah, Parks and Trails Master Plan and say things there and, you know, what, you know, this is a nature park, what is a nature park and all this. But
Well,
yeah, I don't have any problem with it being, you know,
Also, you know, I remember when Dana did her first report on Campbell Park,
Yeah,
and it was, you know, she did a lot of work on that.
I did a
So,
lot of work.
and-
Because
and-
I wasn't sure what
Yeah.
I needed to do. I had no guidelines, I had no clarity, and so I did
So
what. I
it kind of
thought I
set
could.
a high bar for everybody else. And Howard was saying, what the heck is going on?
Right?
that's one of the things I was gonna.
Jeez, I got Sixth Street Park, there's nothing there.
Everyone, you know, when they reviewed their parks, they, you know, everyone did it different. Some people would do it in a minute or two and some people would take, you know, forever.
I guarantee you I would not have gone, I think as formal as I did,
I know, like-
had I known, you know,
Some
had I
guidance.
had any kind of guidance, right?
Like I did McCormick Park, though, I kind of explained what was up top.
Yeah.
I kind of explained what was down, then even further down. And I talked to some of the people there and got their interest in stuff and brought that.
And so that's where I'm just kind of researching, knowing where I felt I had struggles, knowing where coming onto the commission and slowly learning what we're doing and how we're doing it without real structure or without real guideline. I understand the way my brain works. I thrive on structure and guidelines. And then comparing my interpretation and my needs personally versus what is required and what would legally be appropriate to put into the bylaws, et cetera. And then I'll come back at the next meeting and either bring language to update it or just be like, hey, guess what? I overthought all of this and I'm cool not suggesting anything because that is a potential as well. So, but if you guys had anything, you know, any opinions on that, then I'm super open to it because I don't, it's not like I want to change anything that we're doing, just having clarity so that as we bring new members on, they know what they're doing or just protecting ourselves as volunteers and as commission
It just
members.
simply is that the Parks Commission has different members that look into different parks, just so that it's written somewhere that that's just part of what we're
And
doing.
that way we're not just all focused on one park too. We kind of spread over all the parks.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I'd like to see too, and we've really gotten away from it, was every meeting, you know, at least have one report on a park.
Right. And that would also be appropriate,
To include
possibly
it.
appropriate to include in the
Yeah, I'd
bylaws.
like to see that, because I like to know what other people are thinking in other parks. I mean,
Yeah.
it really
It
is.
should be more structured and
Yeah.
say a date each month for a particular park all the way through. So, you know, it's written in stone, so we know.
Yeah. And
Got it
that's,
from last year right here.
yeah, and I have
That's on
that.
paper. That's not stone.
And that was really great, you know, and when we're doing these and when we're doing the presentations, at least a minimum, you know, recommended presentation, you know, that way, you know, if all you need to hit on is, did we do work parties? Was there complaints? Is there things that you recommend would be great? Cool, moving on. I mean, I did a full history of full master plan investigation of, you know, that was excessive and, I mean.
But one of the
it's fine,
things that
but-
I think that should be in every report is what that particular commissioner thinks should be done in that park. And there's no, Buck's not gonna do it because he has no money, but I still think it should be on record on, you know, what we think that park should have.
So,
Play structures and baseball fields.
beautiful.
And see, the thing is, you know, I'm, no offense, Jacob, but I'm not really interested in the baseball fields.
No, the kids are though, the kids. Think of the kids.
Oh, I mean, I think it's great that, you know, that you all have different interests.
No, but you gotta think of the kids. Feel for the kids.
No, yeah.
All right, is there anything else that you guys want me to consider or mull over between now and the next meeting on this particular topic?
So,
Anything you for sure don't want me to clarify, or, I mean, is there anything that you are like, hey?
I think there should definitely be some room for open-endedness. To be open-ended, so the person that, commissioner that's giving the report can, they can do. But I guess the idea of having specifically, these things should be covered.
Thank you so much.
You have 2 parks now that doesn't have anybody on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, we got Lucas.
New one, and we'll be interviewing, I think 2 new people for the other open position next month.
What's that? I know, because I'm limiting the urban trail to 3 minutes.
Gary's
Gary's got 3 minutes on there.
I told Buck I could do this in 3 minutes.
I called you a liar.
Turn that clock on. I'm gonna put money with Buck.
I want to see this official timer goes.
I do have one, I know that. Does it need to be one for the official record or not? Who wants it? Who wants it? Gary wants it.
Thank you so much.
So last meeting, we were discussing the urban park. And one of the things I mentioned was, the trail is gonna go up Plymouth Street by the sewage treatment plant, wastewater management plant. And Jen Dimshow kind of said, wow, and so I started thinking about it a little bit. And then Howard and we went down and spent probably a couple hours one day, walking through that whole area. And both of us came to the conclusion that, yeah, it would be better to go up the steps. And there's several reasons for that. One, it's a lot more aesthetically pleasing to walk there. And now there is a stormwater management pond that's right there. And you can see the steps that go up into the park really easily from there. And there's some posts there where it could say urban trail this way. There's 2 other things that I think are really important. So if you look at the map, for those of you who are not familiar with this, which is probably no one here. But when you get to the end of the project, I'll call it down here, it used to go like this, up by the sewage treatment plant like this. And now it loops back. So I think there's, other than it being, I think, a better way of doing it, just because it makes it simpler, is one, it makes the ADA, loop totally, the urban trail hooks in with the ADA trail really well that way. Okay. And the other thing that I think is important about this, didn't think about this, right, is when they go to phase 2, which will be this part over here, the Riverwalk portion of the trail will probably be closed. So if that's the case, then we can just have a detour sign or put a sign up on the kiosk and have it go down through Plaza Park and hook up with the ADA trail along the cliff, to the pedestrian plaza and down in this way. And so the trail would still be functional. Like, a lot of people are not real happy that people can't walk down here now. Okay. The last thing I want to say is, this has nothing to do with this, but one of the things I would like to see done, and maybe we could get now that Melissa's gone, we don't have anyone that can write grants for it. We don't know how long it's going to be for this to be here. And down here, it's fairly hard, but I would like to see a temporary asphalt track put in here, an asphalt trail path, I better say that, so that people that are ADA can use this, because once you get down here, the surface is hard. And I have stepped that off before. I think I was with Howard when we did that. It was about a 1/4 mile, give or take. And if we could get a grant to, put a temporary asphalt path in there, then people, ADA people could then do this whole loop right now, because now this down here, this part is gravel. And it would probably make it. I just wanted to update people that the trail, and the other thing I'll say too is if you have suggestions about this, like Jen last time kind of made the suggestion, she didn't really make it a formal decision, but she said, hey, I'm not sure, that's a good idea, look at it, and if there's a better way to do it, then we could do it.
Do we have any kind of a tentative, timeline, council, for moving forward on the phase 2 with the riverfront?
The Riverwalk.
Or the Riverwalk?
Any plans for that yet? I know the first one's set to be done this spring, summer, but I don't know of any plans for phase 2 yet.
See, and I think that's important for us to maybe, reroute this a little bit because, it could be 4, 5, 6 years before they start work. It could be 1 year,
Right.
but it could be, a long time. And then when they do start working on it, it would be nice to have an alternative way to reroute people so they can still walk and not be, they can still do their walking.
Well, I'm just thinking, if for the potential asphalt path, if that's even an option, how.
I don't know how much an asphalt path costs. I haven't
It's
looked
a
at-
big ask if you're looking for a grant for that, because it's a temporary thing, so.
And they'd be ripping it up for the phase
Yeah.
2.
What would there be a possibility that we could do a stone that was just had a roller run across it that would make it much more of a hard packed gravel and
Howard, I looked
Would be
into,
easy.
I looked
In
into,
ADA, you got a lot of rules.
Yeah.
I looked into that 5, 6, 7 months ago, and I actually talked with, I think, John Walsh about it. And, you look at them and yeah, they have some materials, but they're not inexpensive either. And I don't know how much, we're looking at, a quarter of a mile, 440 yards of
I don't know,
asphalt.
you could get something like that flat enough to even make it ADA at all.
Right.
It would have to be so wide, it would have to be so flat, there's a lot to it.
You just think there'd be a lot of rules.
It could be a lot of effort and a lot of money,
Oh,
quite honest with you.
okay, temporary. Okay. But anyway, Howard and I thought rerouting the trail this way would be a lot better way of doing the trail. Yes.
And then with the Columbia View Park, so phase 1 being done, it's working,
In May.
right? Would we be able to move forward on some conversation about putting in the kiosk then down there? If they're gonna be done with the construction?
That was our goal, to wait for that park to be done and have that area cleaned up and then throw our 2 cents in and see if we can pull it off.
Or,
Still on plan for that.
that's what they're releasing, what they're hoping by May or something now that most of this will be wrapped up.
Sure.
Hopefully.
the contract ends, I think, what, April, May?
So I still think, we have to, they ripped out the stage.
Right.
And they don't have a alternative yet.
No, they don't have a
There
plan
won't
or,
be, when this is done, that'll still be exactly the same. They're not touching it. Then there could be, I've heard talk of a temporary stage coming in for a while until funds are gotten to put something permanent there. That's kind of what I expect to happen, is a temporary stage to be put in there for a short time, hopefully, and yeah, as of right now, it's just gonna look like that till the park's open.
yeah, and the temporary stage would be conceptualizing like something similar to what they used for the stage for the event in October and the Christmas event. Are we talking just like that pop-up temporary event stage?
I haven't heard anything, but I know when several people saw that, they said that's potential of something that could be down there, so
Okay.
that's a possibility.
So that wouldn't be anything that would inhibit us from being able to put in a kiosk, or it wouldn't.
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Before, but I don't think so.
Because then too, as we talk about all that, I'm hoping that once they get the base of the stairs done, since that's gonna be a more focal point for entering Bob Hill, that we'll be able to get another kiosk built like
That'd be great.
what's at our other spot and got over at Bald Lake, but down the bottom stairs, since There'll be a lit path and it's kind of that's gateway to the trail too.
It's possible, yeah. And that, to me, I think that might be a good spot for like not full size kiosks we have, maybe the half size.
Yeah.
That way we're not just having these big kiosks everywhere and they're not so invasive type
Yeah.
of thing. I think the half you would get plenty what you want to put out there on it.
Okay.
But keep a smaller footprint, might look a little more friendly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to make such a big sign. Carved. That's all.
You done there, Jerry?
Good.
Long 30 minutes.
That's long.
Hey, technically it wasn't all his.
I asked a lot of questions. Blame it on
Jerry, I
me.
think you would have gotten done.
Staff
I
report.
think I would have lost money.
Buck, you're on.
If there's money involved, I would have definitely got that.
So I don't have a whole lot. Um, permit for the Sixth Street shed and concession stand, we just got that today, so we're gonna start pouring the lab for that and getting that built. Thanks to the St. Helens Little League and the St. Helens Youth Football. They're both throwing in money for that. We've been getting rid of a lot of debris from various sites, that's just been built up through the nicer months when we can actually get out on grass without sinking and kind of cleaning shops up, things like that. We're still painting the insides of the public restrooms. And other than that, it's just like this weather where everything's not frozen. That's about all I got.
Thank you. Also, should,
I don't have a lot either with our first meeting of January was canceled because of New Year's, so I don't. Kind of quiet the last few weeks, so just again, want to thank you all for showing up at the last council meeting and thank you for your presentation.
thank you for, driving last, putting this over the.
I think it's definitely a worthwhile project, so thanks for all the time that you've invested on it and all your projects that you're working on, the urban trail and whatever it is, so. The library board just updated their bylaws, so I think it's a good time to take a look at ours and make sure it's working for this group, so.
Maybe we should look at, Rachel, look at the Bible.
Yeah, I'm gonna be spending quite a bit of time over the next month, going over it even more in detail, because I've read through it, I've made some notes. But I did a lot of reflecting on the last conversation we had on bylaws, and that's why I wanted to kind of touch base with you guys again and see that, and then I'm doing some deeper digging and doing comparison to other bylaws and see what we would.
I got one more thing I forgot. Can I throw it in there? So Carolyn sent me a summary of all the volunteer time at Nob Hill Park in 2024. And in spring, it was 130, I assume these are all hours, correct, Howard?
Yes.
133 general hours, 34 public work party hours, in the fall, 116 general hours, and 30 public work party hours, the grand total, 335 hours of volunteer stewardship. And they mentioned some friends of theirs, Zach and Bina Davis, for helping them on most Sundays, so I want to thank them all for that.
Impressive.
And to drop more breakdown, about 35 of those hours. History right away. I know the numbers don't quite dive all the way, but it is 335. And so I want to say, God being Carol, we probably just it's all about that, probably 150 to 200 just for us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So I said that equals out to like 8 weeks of having somebody working full time in the park.
Price is right.
Anything else there? Else or Cindy?
No, just again, thanks for all that you do. I think the biggest challenge and it's hard when you have so many parks, but just making sure. I know we've talked a lot lately about Milton Creek and a lot about the urban trail and just remembering there's
other one.
Godfrey and Civic Pride and lots of other parks out there too. So that's the challenge, is just making sure that they're all.
Getting up behind.
Yeah, so, but no, it's a big job and you guys are doing a great job. So thank you.
Thanks. Discussion items. We got a list of 12. Just for Jacob. They all have pertain to the Vikings though.
I got. We're gonna need it for a while.
Anybody?
quick recap of a little bit of what we're doing in Notville. We've been progressing with cutting down some of the non-native cherry trees and if anybody happens to stumps here and there, you know. So we're taking those out, doing some maintenance on the cages and stuff in the park. And been eating up some of the grass clumps with the fancy weed eater that we have to see if we can get rid of some of the, I think it's orchard grass that grows in the clumps in there. So doing active doing things, so. Let you guys keep progressing.
Thank you.
I did
I-
got it here.
I was wondering, moving forward into the spring, if we have, any more, work parties planned for, like the, not the botanical gardens, although that's in my mouth, the,
Chinese garden.
yeah, the Japanese garden. Goodness gracious. If we have any work parties scheduled there, I'd really like to get in and work on that. Or any other work parties, and if we'd like to consider, if, especially if we're going to be in the, public eye a little bit more with the newspaper and whatnot, considering encouraging public volunteers,
Use it as a platform to.
the platform.
Yeah, Howard and I discussed maybe having a cleanup botanical garden.
Yeah, I would love to be
Because I think
involved.
the IGA also.
So I guess just keeping us up to date, at the meetings on any, proposed, cleanups or work parties. As if I can know in as far advanced as possible, it helps me because my schedule for work is pretty busy, but I really would love to get out there and do more with you guys this year, for sure.
Say 30 seconds work. Also, we're gonna meet with the watershed council's hired a new, I forget his exact title, kind of weed coordinator, worker. Things are out again, so we're gonna be meeting with them in October at the end of the month. Show them some of the things that we're looking at. We're doing that, but the watershed council does wanna be involved with us in the IJ. Hopefully we'll get better participation from them a little bit. We've had some problems with flow on our end of working towards them. That's so we're gonna get it better to have them come in, yeah, be able to better.
Any other discussion items? Paul, you have anything?
Nope, no, I think I'm good.
People on the spot. Cool. So, well, with that, my reign of errors is over.
Oops, that's it. They cut me off.